Hey y'all, it's Alex and welcome back to my channel. Over here on the left we have day 14 and I can link that in the top corner. Pew pew pew. It was really late when I was filming this, so I felt like finger guns. And I'm also really excited. Today is the first ink we've had in quite a while. This is one of my favorites from the Liquitex acrylic inks line. It is the Prussian blue hue. For legend, I considered going in kind of like a mythical legend kind of idea, but whenever I hear the word legend, my mind always hears map key. So, because I am eternally scarred by mapping. I didn't realize that for the first bit of sketching, my camera just kind of slid slowly off screen, so we have to start a little bit later than I originally intended. In my thumbnail sketch, I also kind of planned on this character being like an 1800s style character, kind of the same hairstyle that I used in day 8. However, I kind of wanted to make her a little bit more modern, so I decided on just doing a normal high ponytail and kind of a sweater and shorts outfit, just something that you'd be wearing when you're studying at home. And my idea for this character is she's a cartographer and she's perhaps at a university, perhaps actually does this for a job. Who knows? But I wanted to have her sitting there working on her most recent map. And I think this is the best hand that I've drawn in quite some time. I'm really, really happy about, like, specifically the hand of this piece. When I was actually getting down to the nitty-gritty of the map, I started writing in English, but then I realized if this piece is going to look as detailed as I want, there's going to be a whole lot of writing around that I'm going to have to go back and ink. So I figured that I would just continue along with this weird made-up language that I started with 2 days ago on day 13 with the book with the eye on it. So I think that's going to become a theme through the rest of my pieces, just like other small things have become themes, like the ink bottle that's on her desk is the same brand of ink that is on the desk in day 13. And obviously there's the skulls that are around in random places. Where did I put that in this one? I think it's technically on the spider that's on her hat later that's sitting to the side. This piece became unintentionally complicated. My original thumbnail was literally just a zoom in of her at her desk. The thumbnail isn't in the right orientation for a landscape piece. I think it was actually supposed to be a profile. However, I decided that since yesterday's was a profile piece, I wanted to do a landscape today. And that meant I had to either make the subject of the girl at the desk a lot bigger, or I had to add more and more to the side, because otherwise it would just be an empty room, and I wanted to make sure it looked lived in. And it was going to be her looking out over more of a forest scene through the window. And there are things that I want to connect this to that you'll see later on in this Inktober series. But I decided that I wanted her instead to be in like a university city setting. So, and also that gives me a chance to draw more bricks. Suddenly I just love bricks for whatever reason. It's just a fun texture. Oh, that's right, the skull is in the map in the top corner. Forgot about that. I filmed this very late last night, and I admit, there was a certain point where I kind of just started going through the motions and just kept adding and adding. Which, I mean, is very similar to my experience that I've had personally with mapping. For those of you who don't know, I have a degree in earth science, and as part of my earth science degree, I attended field camp, which is basically a, yes, 6-week-long mapping experience that I did out in Utah. And every week was maybe 1 or 2 mapping experiences along with actually describing geology. I like the geology part. The mapping part, I could probably get away with not doing that again for the rest of my life. Maps and me didn't necessarily get along, however I have a newfound appreciation for people who can actually make maps. We didn't make them ourselves, we just had to interpret what we were seeing onto topographic maps, which at the very beginning when I was working on the outline of the map that she was working on, I almost made it a topographic map. But then I realized I don't hate myself that much. I'll put an image of a topographic map that I'm used to up on screen. And thinking about having to actually draw one of those again made me kind of internally shrivel up and want to die. I think by far this is one of my favorite line arts. I wish I would have taken a scan of this piece when I just had it as a line art. I was pretty careful about going in with certain nib sizes. The girl and the hat are all done in a 05 Sakura pen, and then everything else is done with a 01 or a 005, just so that way you have a good differentiation of subjects. I feel like this piece is also more striking in line art. I don't know why that is. I feel like the color didn't really suit this piece very well. It's weird. This is one of my favorite colors in my entire ink collection, but it just isn't the one that I think I would naturally choose for this piece. I wish I would have had the foresight to make a copy of this line art so I could have done a digital coloring of it just as completely normal hues. That's been one thing I've been wanting to get into, actually, is taking scans of my art and then coloring everything in digitally, because the line art is the part of digital art that I absolutely suck at. I just can't wrap my head around it. I used to have a really good grip on it when it was just me working on my computer with a USB Connect tablet, but I don't know why on my iPad I'm having such trouble. I probably just am not forcing myself to use it as much as I should. But in the future here, I'm hoping to do some physical line arts and then coloring in digital. If I did that, would you guys be interested in watching that as a video? Like, would that be another type of coloring that you'd like to see from me, or is it better to just stick traditional in your opinion? Go ahead and vote in the top corner. I probably will do it either way, but I'm just curious about what you guys think. And right here is why this is my favorite color in this entire set. It is a gorgeous dark blue, and you don't really have to even layer it to get this absolutely beautiful hue. I think this is the one ink that I've used probably the most out of all of my inks. Then again, it has the advantage of I've owned it longer. So while this ink is really dark, just without watering it down at all, I wanted to make sure that I had dark subjects at the concentrated towards the center of the piece, and then it kind of gets lighter the further out we go. That's why the half of her shorts that are darker than the other half are towards the inner side as opposed to the outer side. I just hit my tripod. As opposed to the outer side. Just so y'all know, I'm wildly gesturing with my hands to try to make sense of what I'm saying myself. I can't do this when I'm actually drawing, and it makes it so much harder for me to put words together. It's weird. The Italian heritage is flying out of my hands right now. One thing I think I should have done a lot more was joining areas of the blue and the gray together, like I just did for the rose on her hat. I think that is my favorite tiny detail for this entire piece. I mean, other than her hair. I think her hair is the best hair I've drawn in ages. And I came to a frightening realization. We're halfway through Inktober. How in the hell did we get here? I'm absolutely amazed that I've managed to make it this far. I didn't think that we would, but here we are, and I'm about to go start filming for day 16, so here's hoping that goes well. I will admit that I regret about this piece is doing this striped wallpaper. I didn't want to do all one wash of color because I felt like that would be a little bit too heavy. I wanted to make sure that there was a significant amount of white still in the piece because I wanted her desk and cabinet to remain white. So I wanted there to be kind of like some decorative choice to them being white wood. I'm not very good at keeping lines straight without having a ruler, and I didn't want to potentially smudge all of the ink and use a ruler to make all the lines, so I just freehanded it. I really could have done those a lot better. They're not absolutely the worst. I've got to tell you, I've done worse striped wall pattern. I think it was on my first piece of Inktober last year. Yeah, the striped walls I probably wouldn't, if I had the chance to redo this piece, I wouldn't do the striped walls. If I managed to take this into Photoshop and get rid of all the color, I might do like a wallpaper of some kind. These people on broomsticks in the background are one of my other favorite tiny details. We just continue to build this world of magic around them. Oh, I didn't come up with a name for this girl. I think we'll have time to give her a name later. Or you guys can help me out with that. Leave a suggestion for a name for this cartographer down in the comment section below. I kind of hoped that I wouldn't have to go back and do line art on her pants, but after I peeled off the tape, I just couldn't leave it like that. So that was the last thing I did to this piece. I hope you guys have enjoyed seeing me work on this piece, and I just realized there's a part of the window that I didn't color in, and that's gonna bother me now. It's like right below the desk. I'm gonna need to go fix that, but this piece is more or less done. If you feel so inclined, hit that subscribe button and check me out on my other social media handles. Thanks, and I'll see y'all tomorrow.